Hi, folks. Welcome to today's talk with Erika. Thank you so much for joining me again with another wonderful show with Gina Martell. Please remember to subscribe, like the show, comment. We love to hear from you. Well, Gina Martell joins me again with Fire Horse Spirit and Healing, her equine assisted life coaching farm in Ball Ground, Georgia. You may remember Gina is the former voice of Love 94 in South Florida. Well, she still has the voice to host smooth jazz, but she's using it now to heal. Welcome, Gina.
Thank you, Erica. Thank you for such a nice introduction.
You're welcome.
I
You
just
deserve
can't
it.
escape. I cannot escape my past.
No, because you've got that beautiful voice. And you know, in our last show, I had the video up of the rescue horse Jack and Billy Raven. Both of your voices are just incredible. And I don't know what to say to that. So you can't escape your past when you have voices like that. Goodness.
Oh, thank you. Actually, I really did love working on air. I loved my listeners. I loved getting out and meeting musicians and meeting people. And yeah, if
It's
radio
nice.
were a little different,
I was going to say radio changed so much from what it was in the
a
early, even
lot.
2000s. And then it's just look where we are now with AI.
I know technology. It's crazy.
We are not AI. So we're coming to
No.
you real, live in living color.
Yep.
Well, Gina, I understand you have a wonderful article coming out in Awakened magazine. Talk to me about what that's about.
Oh, I'm so excited about it. Awaken magazine is a really it's a great magazine that I stumbled upon. Um, and they really target the spiritual community, you know. And we've said this in the last show. I am very spiritual now. Um, I'm a spiritual teacher. I'm an equine assisted life coach. I'm also a Reiki master, and I do Dolores Cannon QHHT past life regressionist. And I work with a lot of women with traumas and abusive backgrounds and people that are at the verge of divorce and trying to fix their marriage. I work with kids, that are in fear or, just kind of a train wreck in school. So there's a lot of things that I have been doing for the past, I don't know, 14, 15 years at this point. And this magazine, they have some of the biggest spiritual influencers in it, and I was really impressed with that. And they're new. They've been around for like 2 years. Beautifully done. I mean, they really forefront, the healer or the practitioner. And they do these beautiful podcasts. So I'm actually on the cover. Coming up June the 17th is when it's going to be released. It is a digital magazine. Sometimes they have some print. They also do some, conferences and festivals that you can buy a table and sell your wares. They've got one actually coming up in California. Actually, I think they're based in California. But anyway, I'm really excited about it. It's the cover page of the magazine is actually my Morgan Dodger and I. I was actually riding him, and I don't know. I just got off and just wanted to hug him, and somebody was there. I don't remember who, and took a picture, and the picture just came out so great. And I said, I just want to use that for the cover, because they
Oh,
wanted me to use a cover shot for something to do with horses because they're going to feature my equine assisted life coaching. So yeah, it's a like a 45-minute podcast, and it's really awesome. But I love that it really focuses that community that understands and doesn't judge, what we do as holistic healers and practitioners
right.
in the world now, because everything has been a doctor or big pharma or anything like that, and now the world is opening, to more holistic practitioners,
Hmm.
which is and more natural foods and removing the toxins out of your food and your children's food and questioning vaccines and all these things that we should have been doing all along and we we just didn't know because we're under all this programming of everybody telling us what to do and who to be. So
Right.
yeah, I'm excited about that. June the 17th, it'll be a really nice feature, and I encourage everyone to check it out, awakenedmagazine.com.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. And I hope everyone can see it online as well.
Yeah,
That's wonderful. So
thank
talk to
you.
me. I know that you've been doing, you always do a lot of work. This is your business now. You always do a lot of work with the horses, but you've been doing
Yeah.
working with fear. Talk to me about how it is you work with fear because that is a huge one for so many people, especially in today's day and age.
Well, we've all been raised with so many fears about things, and fear comes from many different places, right? Um, fear as a child of being abandoned, if we don't have the greatest parents or the parents that are emotionally available or actually physically present sometimes in our life, which they should be, but sometimes things happen, like somebody gets divorced or they get hired out to go work someplace far away and they have to move to another place. And, there's a lot of that stuff that goes on. But there's also, the range of just regular fears. I mean, you have all your little phobias if you're afraid of spiders or snakes or whatever. And then sometimes life just scares people. It's amazing how many people grow up with really, truly a fear of life, a fear of being around animals, a fear of stepping into the unknown, right? That's one reason I do the fire walks too, because those fire walks actually help people step into what's blocking them. Fear is a
Quite
block,
literally.
quite literally. Fear is a block. And it's also an illusion. It's something that we have in our minds that it doesn't have to last. It'll last as long as you allow it to last, right?
Right.
So one of the things I love to do with people who are like let's call them city people, people that are not in the country and live, on the earth, like in nature, in the woods, with animals, with livestock, with all birds around, like I do.
Right.
And a lot of people are transitioning and moving to the country, which is really awesome. I love that. Sometimes they'll come out and they'll say, "Well, I've got some fears. I'm afraid of horses. I'm afraid of, you know, um, trying new things. I'm afraid of relationships. I'm afraid of changing my career," because they really like that certainty. The certainty is something that they did not get pretty much as a child. So they grow up with fear of, I don't have what I need to feel safe. That's what fear is a lack of feeling safe, right? So the first thing I do is I tell him, all right, come here and meet my horse. Usually I'm going to let him work with Dodger at that point. And it's really interesting because it could be in the arena or in the barn or wherever it is that we're doing the work. And when they tell me that they're afraid of things, I can always tell if they're really afraid of a horse or they're kind of skittish themselves because they usually stay far away from the horse because, the thought is the horse will kick you no matter what or bite you. That's not true. A horse will kick you or bite you if it feels threatened or if it feels frightened, right? Horses have like the two sides of the brain, kind of like we do, fight and flight and thinking mode. When somebody comes around and they are nervous around the horse, I know that they are in fight and flight. So, Erica, for example, the last time you had a panic situation, like something happened, to you, and you're like, I don't know how to handle this, right? Your
Right.
brain goes into fight and flight because you go into survival mode.
Right.
That's what we automatically do to protect ourselves. Animals do it all the time. Horses do it all the time too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So so the first thing I'll do is I'll get that person to start petting my horse, get to know him a little bit, and then I'll tell them walk behind him. And they're like, "No." Okay. I'm going to show you something.
That's where
You
you'd get
pet
me
the
too,
horse.
though. I want to walk
You touch.
behind him.
I know, but you know what? Once I get people doing it, It's
Yeah.
amazing how it goes away.
Yeah.
It's just an illusion. You just
Yeah.
think it's real until you see that it's not, right? I help you step into that fear
Yeah.
and walk through it,
Mm.
right? So
Right.
I'll go touch my horse's hip and just say, "Hey, Dodger, I'm back here," and then walk around him, walk to the other side. Normally, I can tell it takes a little while, but their hand is usually extended way out, so they've got like an arm's distance, from the horse and them. And they're just kind of scooting around really quick. Like if I go really fast and I stay all the way out here, maybe, you can't reach me to kick me or whatever. And I'm like, okay, that was a good first attempt. Do it again. Again? Yeah, you're going to do it again. Let him know you're there and walk to the other side. I usually make them do this like 5 to 10 times, walking
Oh,
back and forth behind the horse. Dodger just kind of laughs about it because he knows what's going on. He just stands there.
but I bet they're comfortable after 5, 10 times. You have to be comfortable at that point.
The person starts to breathe.
Mhm.
They start to breathe because they're basically holding their breath while
Right.
they're walking behind the horse, right? About 5 times. If I still feel like they need a little bit more, I'll send them around a couple more times.
Mm.
And then I'll tell them, stop and stand there at his hip and just talk to me. How
Hmm.
did that feel? And I start talking to them, and before you know it, they're comfortable. And
Nice.
Dodger just is standing there like, oh, I got a person at my hip. That's all right. Right.
Yeah.
And we talk about it. And they admit they're the first ones to say, wow, I really made that worse in my mind. And why did that happen? Somebody told him or her when they were younger, oh, don't ever walk by an horse because they're going to kick the crap out of you, right?
Right. Right.
Horses that do stuff like that, like I said, they're either really frightened or something's going on, but predominantly that comes from the imprinting when the horse is a foal.
Mhm.
If the person that handled the baby when it was born, the foal, and loved it and showed it could trust, the horse is going to grow up to be fine and not think to kick people. If you raise your child with fears, if you raise your child not to be able to trust themselves and not to trust anybody, you're going to raise a child who's very fearful of life.
Right.
And not only are they going to be like nervous about everything, but they're never going to be able to walk the path of the purpose that they're here for.
Hmm.
They're going to jump around and they're going to go from job to job because they don't feel fulfilled, and yet all they are is afraid to take a chance and to jump into life feet first.
Hmm.
When my daughter finished her 2 years in college years ago,
Hmm.
I sent her on a cruise ship with her friend off to the Greek islands as a
Nice.
congratulations, right? She sent me a picture of herself where she's standing on the dock in Greece and she's literally jumping into the unknown ocean, the Greek ocean. She's jumping into it. It's such a great picture.
I
But
love
that's
that.
really that's really how we kind of need to
It's
sometimes
fun.
just go into life and just say, just do it.
Yeah.
The what is it? The Nike
Like
Nike
you just
sneakers,
do it.
just do it.
Just do
Sometimes you
it.
just
Just start.
just
Mhm.
start. I mean, I'm not saying jump in a pond of alligators. I'm just saying
Right.
start taking little leaps.
Right.
The unknown. And because what and what if together has great possibilities, right?
Right.
What if you do something that you would never thought you would do and it turned out to be amazing?
Hmm.
The other hand is, what if it turned out to really suck and not be everything you thought it? Well, then what do you learn from it? What do
Correct.
you
I was
learn
going
from
to
it so you don't
say
make
that
those mistakes again?
exactly. But that is what some folks are afraid of. And how can you not be? What if I fail at this? Well, then you failed at it. But you know what? Start again. Do something again. So, that's
Mhm.
life. You can't
Yeah.
you can't have all wins.
No, because you can't learn anything. If everything comes super easy to you,
Hmm.
You can't learn
Correct.
how to roll with the punches, right?
Correct.
I mean, being a horsewoman, I tell people all the time, you fall off, you get right back in the saddle.
Yeah.
That's life. Keep going. Don't let anything stop you or make you shrink or make you small or make you give your power away.
Hmm.
You know, the horses are all power. They are power in the front with their big, majestic chest and muscle,
Right.
and their power in the back with their hind legs, right?
Right.
And they are all about forward motion.
Hmm.
You gotta go forward. You know, in the herd, it's run by the mare, the female, right? And
Right.
how does she get that position? She doesn't sit there and go, "Hey, everybody vote for me. I want to run the herd."
Right.
Right?
Right.
No.
Right.
She has she has to prove that she's a capable leader.
Hmm.
And how does she do that? She gets the other horses in the herd. She gets them to move forward. She gets their feet
Yeah.
moving. And when she can get their feet moving and she proves that she is a capable leader,
Hmm.
they know that's when a horse will join up. It's called the join up. And then they follow you. I've done this a lot in
Right.
my arena with people. It blows their mind because when I let them send the horse out and
Hmm.
they're pushing the horse, they're pushing around. If it's Dodger, it's about 1,000 pound animal. If it's Blue, it's about a 1,300 pound animal, right?
Hmm.
I'm making that person the leader, the mayor in the herd. My little herd of two, pushing the horse around, and then the horse decides at some point, oh, she's telling me what to do, or he's telling me what to do, and I think I can trust her.
Yeah.
So then the horse turns in and faces you and puts both eyes on you, and you look at him, and then you start to walk, and that horse will follow you.
That's amazing.
It is amazing. People are like, "Oh, you train him to do that." No, that is the natural body language way that horses, and that's why the mayor has all that leadership because she's convinced the horses that she's capable of leading them to safety, leading
Right.
them to water, and leading them to where the grass is.
I love
She has
that.
no fear.
No, but people need to incorporate that with the human version of that, you know?
Yeah. And that's what I try to teach.
Right.
So when someone comes to work with me with the horses, the one thing that I teach them is about the herd
Right.
and then explain that. And then we do, the empowerment of you're going to tell this horse what to do. No, I'm
Right.
not. And sometimes either one of my guys does not always do because they have to believe you. If you act like a wuss about it, they're
Yeah.
going to turn around and face you and try to push you around. That's what they try to do. That's what a horse will do because somebody has to lead.
Right.
And if somebody's not in charge, then they have to be in charge. And then they're going to treat you just like they would any other horse.
Well, that's
It's
true.
just like that. Yeah.
What advice would you give someone who is not going to be working with the horses right this very moment, but someone who's watching this podcast? What advice would you give them to eliminate fear if they don't have access to equine assisted life coaching at the moment?
Okay. Yeah. And sometimes that happens. I actually have some clients that are allergic to horses, and so I have to do other stuff. So the
Wow.
first thing I would suggest is really sit with themselves, get a journal, and write. Start writing and make it very apparent to them what are they afraid of and where do they think it came from? How far back? I do a lot of Zoom and FaceTime sessions with people too. So one thing I love to do is I'll ask them, so you have fear of, so when you're in fear mode, what do you feel? And they'll say like, well, I feel, anxious. Okay. Before anxious, what's the emotion that makes you feel anxious? And they may say sadness. So what I do is I try to go all the way back until we get to the root of where did that fear come from? And 9 times out of 10, it comes from the child feeling alone
Hmm.
and abandoned because the parent wasn't present, or that the child had done something wrong and the parent handled it in a way that they didn't. I'm all about explaining to your kid why you're upset or why they made a mistake. You know, mistakes are lessons.
Right.
They're not wrongs. They're opportunities for us to learn from and to grow from, right?
Hmm.
So, you know, uh you'd say, okay, what did you do wrong at that point though? Why did mommy get mad at you? And I've kind of regressed them back to that point. And they'll say, well, I spilled milk or whatever, or I broke something. You know,
Hmm.
sometimes the parent might have had a terrible day, and the break of the vase or whatever was just the last straw, and she just blew up.
Hmm.
It's okay if you're going to do that, but then what you need to do is when you settle down, grab that child and put him on your lap and say, "Hey, mommy was wrong for reacting like that to you." You know.
Right.
But if you're not going to do a session with me, I would say really sit down and write in that journal where you think this fear comes from. And then I'm all about facing your fear. So put yourself in that position. You don't have to jump into it, but you can slowly, like if you have a fear of dogs, these are legitimate fears, maybe go and volunteer at a shelter. So you start working around animals and then you start developing compassion. And really, the rescues, they understand your fear because they have fear too.
Mm.
Same thing with rescue horses.
Wow.
They don't know if they can trust you. They've been abused by people, you know. Maybe just take some steps to start stepping into that fear a little bit. And just, my grandmother used to say, piano, piano, step by step,
I like
baby
that.
steps. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
One bite at a time. I like that. Well, thank you for
But
that. Now, when is another event coming up?
I have a children's series of interactive bedtime audio stories that I
Wonderful.
have created. Yeah. For those of you that know me from Love 94, you remember that I used to be married to Roberto Pereira, the acoustic harpist from Uruguay. He and I are good friends. Um, and by the way, Antonio is all grown up, our son. Yeah. But I narrated the stories. He laid down this beautiful harp music under them. And then Steve Johnson over at Outpost Audio in Miami. I don't know if you ever worked with him, but he's like amazing. One of the best producers I've ever worked with. I did a lot of voiceover work with him.
Awesome.
He put the stories together. So there's stories like we go to Africa, we go to the rainforest. There's no screen. There's no screen. I want to encourage children, teach them how to create their own imagination. And that's how the stories are. So these are getting ready to come out. We're going to have them on YouTube,
Nice.
and then I'm going to start selling merchandise with it. So yeah,
Wonderful.
anybody who's got children, ages like maybe a year and a half or 2 years old to maybe 8 or 9, right?
Hmm.
And I developed these because my twins, you know, my son had a really hard time falling asleep ever since he was a baby. Had such a hard time falling asleep.
Aw.
And as a single mom, I was gonna pull my hair out.
Aw.
But yeah, you're exhausted as a single mom, right? And here I was working on air and trying to have
Right.
a career and pay my bills and all that stuff. And
Right.
so, he got a little bit older and he says, "Mom, I'm having a really hard time falling asleep." So I don't know. I just said, "Okay." So I laid down with him in bed and I said, "Just close your eyes." And I took him on an adventure and it relaxed him and it got we have we have the pineal gland. Everybody has it in their brain, right? The
Hmm.
pineal gland is the third eye.
Hmm.
But the pineal gland also it releases wonderful things for your brain that helps you not feel pain, that helps you relax. It's got natural melatonin, you
Hmm.
know, and works on healing, healing your body and healing your brain when we sleep. That's why staying up really late, when you're
Is not.
partying,
Yeah.
and you're drinking and you're out all night long, it's not
And
good
that
for
doesn't
your
help that.
brain.
No.
It does not know. It
But
can't
what I
your
was also
pineal gland cannot release
the pineal gland cannot release those
hormones.
hormones exactly that are
Yeah.
trying to help you sleep. But I was also going to say to that, you reading anything, you could read a horror story next to somebody and they'll fall asleep listening to your voice. So
You know what? You are so funny because I remember I used to feel that way about Barry White. Remember Barry White?
do.
Oh my, I was such a Barry White fan. I was such a Barry White fan. And I used to get on the air and I'd play some Barry White. And I swear to you, I used to make jokes all the time. Like, that man could say, "Where's the toilet paper?" And it was sexy.
True though. It's
Oh,
true.
oh my
It's
God. And Billy Raven's got that voice. He's still got that voice.
oh, he
Yeah.
does,
But
yes.
anyway, thank you for that. I appreciate that. But yeah, I have my voice, my Love 94 voice, I guess. And the music of Roberto. And they're not really long stories. So yeah, they will be coming out soon, and I will keep you posted as to. As a matter of fact, when I'm ready,
Good.
maybe we could even play a snippet of one when
Hmm.
maybe a little bit further into the shows when I'm
Hmm.
ready for that, just to give people an idea. I'm really proud of them,
Yes, you should
and
be.
now's a
That's
good time.
exciting. Yeah. And it
Yeah,
is a good
yeah.
time. A lot
Thank
of
you.
you have a grandchild now. We've got a lot of
I
babies
do.
being born. It's just the perfect time. This 2026 is the greatest year to be releasing those.
Yeah, because our children, first of all, they have no idea what delayed gratification is. I don't know about you, but I remember waiting for Christmas. 365 days? What?
Why is it not every
Crying is
day?
I have to wait 365 days for Christmas for Santa? Oh my God. Oh, it
Yeah.
was gut wrenching for me. Okay.
Yeah.
And then we finally got Christmas, right? But
Yep.
yeah, they've everything is electronic, all the screens and everything. So,
Hmm.
but this is very different. They have to use their own imagination.
Hmm.
So, yeah,
I like that. I like that a
thank you.
lot. So we'll definitely have a snippet of that in our next show.
That'd
I'll
be
have
great.
any and all links of yours in the About section. And of course, I've been popping everything up that anyone needs to see. To find you, to find your social media, to find your website, anything that anyone needs to find you, you can find that in the About section. And you can also just follow my pages and you'll find Gina. But so yeah, let's talk about so the next show. Let's try and actually let's see what are we going to have in another month when we come back with this show because I'm excited to always talk about
Yeah.
new and exciting things happening with Fire Horse Spirit and Healing. So hopefully
Well,
we'll
let's see. We did have a Boss Mare workshop that was scheduled for this weekend, but the rain, we've had rain up here for like 10 days in a row.
at least you have
I
the
don't know
ring.
about you guys down there, but it's been wet up here. So we just rescheduled it for July 27th. So we may have some stuff to talk about on July 27th, unless we get
Good.
rain or worse, locust. But, anyway. And we should have a
Goodness.
fire walk planned as well. And
Good.
and this Boss Mare workshop is going to be about relationships. It's going to be
Good.
mostly women. Normally, I don't. Normally, when I do these workshops, I only allow 6 women because I really want to focus and do a lot of one-on-one. And I bring my horses,
Hmm.
and we do it in Talking Rock over at Save the Horses up there. But with the weather, we had to change it. But this time, I'm not bringing my horses. I am going to take more people. I mean, I
Okay.
could probably take like 10 people because I want to pair people up,
Good.
and it's going to be mostly female. If anybody wants to come up for that, you can find it on Instagram or our Facebook page or anything like that. Feel
Hmm.
free to book, the workshop,
Hmm.
and then we'll do the fire walk pretty much after because I want to put it all in one day. You know, some people are going to be coming in relationships that need to end relationships, that
Hmm.
need to jump into trusting, for a relationship
Hmm.
that, may have some things going on with them that is affecting the relationship. And so, what better thing but to wrap it up and really step into that block, clear the block, and set the intention for what you truly want to step into in a firewalk. And I'll be right there with you.
That's awesome.
You
That's
got to come
awesome.
up. You got to
I
come up.
do. I really do. I do. And hopefully maybe I can get a few people to head on up there with me because that's incredible. And yeah, we all need to join you and do that.
I
Oh
would love
goodness.
that.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
That'd be
June
nice. We'll
27th.
talk. July
Yeah.
27th, right? July.
Well, no, June 20. I'm sorry. That was my mistake. June 27th. And then we are going to do another one in July.
Okay, okay.
If that one's a little bit better. And I think we're going to try for August
Okay.
as another one.
We have some
But yeah,
options.
if
Okay.
July works better for you, try to plan on the July one.
Okay.
And I get everybody set up with an Airbnb or whatever,
That's really
food,
nice.
whatever you guys need.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it would be fun. And then after the fire walk, I'm going to send everybody out into the pasture. She's got 62 acres in Talking Rock, absolutely gorgeous in the mountains,
Wow.
beautiful. And you're all going to sit on the ground in the herd. And she's got a herd of like, I don't know, at this point, like 25, 30 horses that are all homeless
Wow.
and they know me. They come up to me every time I go out there. They're very friendly. And I'm just going to have you girls sit in the ground and just see whoever comes over, just be one with the earth and just integrate because that's what's important after the work I do,
We need that
integration.
healing. Everyone needs that healing.
Right now, there's a lot of stuff going on this planet. Everything is crumbling,
Yeah.
everything is dissolving, and we need to be able to move past it and heal what's going on inside of us so we can find our inner peace.
Hmm.
And when one person does their healing, it affects the whole planet.
It does. It does. We'll
Mhm.
leave it at that. Thank you so much, Gina. I love listening to you. I love your shows. I love having you on. This is amazing. But you could find
Thank
all of
you.
her links in the About section. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Gina.
Thank you. Thanks everyone for listening. I love you guys. See you later.
We love you too.